Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about ukulele sizes, what the difference is and which one might be right for you. Now I better put these down because this is a little bit tricky. So typically ukuleles come in 4 sizes or really scale lengths. Now scale length is a more accurate term to describe them because the size is to do with the actual length of the scale that you're playing, but really most people when they talk about ukulele sizes are talking about the size of the whole thing, and I'm quite cool with that. I don't worry about getting too technical on this. The bigger ones are a different scale. So there are 4 main sizes of ukulele, and they are soprano, concert, tenor, and the big boy, baritone. Now let's talk about the differences and why there are different scales or sizes, whatever you want to call them. When most people think of ukuleles, they think of the soprano size. This is the classic size ukulele and the first size ukulele that I started with. In fact, I think maybe my first 3 or 4 were all sopranos. I kind of decided early on that I thought soprano was the size for me because I wanted that classic ukulele sound. So sopranos are typically associated with the classic traditional ukulele sound. They've got a very short sustain, they're very bright. Here's a little bit of that classic soprano sound. So quite shrill. Probably could do with a little bit more tuning this one actually. I have tuned all these ukuleles up, but some of them I've not played in quite a long time. But really, really bright, really short sustain, very unique sound. So soprano ukuleles tend to be the cheapest ones. Not always the case, but if you're going to get a cheaper one, it's likely going to be a soprano. They usually have 12 frets, but you can get them with more. I actually prefer a soprano with at least 15 frets. I just find 12 frets for my playing a little bit limiting, but if you're a beginner, 12 frets will do you absolutely fine. So sopranos make great starter ukuleles. Some people mistakenly think that because the sopranos are small and they maybe have big hands or they're bigger people, that sopranos are more difficult to play. That's not strictly true. People seem to think that the longer sort of scale length you get, you're going to get more room on the frets for your fingers to go, so chords are going to be a little bit easier. That's not technically true though, because a lot of the time when you're trying to squeeze your fingers into frets, you're not worried about sort of horizontal movement. It's more vertical room that you need. So if I'm trying to play, let's say a D chord here, it isn't the width of the fret that's causing me problems. It's the width of the knot going up here. So moving up an extra size isn't necessarily going to cure that problem. So that's just one to factor in. If you find that your fingers are a little bit squashed and you could do with a bit more room, look for a ukulele with a wider knot. Don't necessarily look for a bigger ukulele. So let's move up and have a look at a concert. So concert slightly bigger. You can hopefully see the size difference here. Not a massive amount bigger, but a little bit, enough to be significant. So this is my snail, roughly similar price to my Ohana, but you can get them at pretty much all price ranges. This is the one that I find is the ukulele that's kind of in between. It's the one that I didn't want to like because I just thought it was a bit of a yeah, it's in the middle. It's not really any particular thing on its own. It's sort of middle of the road. It's Coldplay. It's bland. It's that kind of thing. Apologies if you like Coldplay. You can hear that sound difference there. Even that's quite a big difference actually. It's a lot more bassy. So it's tuned exactly the same as the soprano, but just a little bit more bassy, a little bit more room horizontally at least. So concerts are really my bag these days. I used to love the soprano and I used to only want to play soprano, but I just find them a little bit more comfortable, and it's not necessarily about the frets, it's just the whole package. I like the kind of size on my body. They're still portable. They're still really portable at concert scale. So I'm very much a concert man these days, but don't let me guide you. Go by what feels right for you. So next up we have the tenor. So again, just getting an idea of that size difference. Similar kind of move up from soprano to concert to tenor. You can kind of see the size difference is quite similar, but we're getting a bit bigger now. And for me, we're moving away from that portability level. Again, maybe a bit more bassy. Actually, it's probably not a super fair comparison because this one is a polycarbonate ukulele and I was playing a solid snail, or at least a solid top snail. So you're going to get a better sound quality from the snail. That said, you can kind of... Every time I try and make a ukulele video, my dog starts trotting around on the wooden floor and all I can hear is his little feet running about. So that's the tenor. I'm not a big tenor player, mainly on the portability reasons actually. I like my instruments to be pretty accessible, not take up much space, so I don't tend to hang around the kind of tenor scale at all. And then we have the baritone. So here we've got a baritone, and you can see this feels like a bit more of a significant jump up in size than it was from the previous sizes. So it's pretty big actually, the baritone. And the baritone is the first one that isn't tuned the same way as the soprano, the concert and the tenor. So they're all tuned re-entrant tuning, which is typically G, C, E, A. The baritone isn't tuned like that, and we'll get on to why. So the baritone is tuned like the bottom 4 strings of a guitar, and it isn't re-entrant tuning either. So you'll notice that the strings go from thick to thin moving down. That isn't the case with normal re-entrant. So that means a C chord that you would normally play on a soprano, a concert or a tenor is no longer a C chord. You can still play it like you would play a C chord, but it isn't a C chord anymore. I'm just trying to work out what it is. It's a G. The only way I can work that out is because if I was playing a G on guitar, it would be something like that with these 2 fingers fretting on the top 2 strings. But because they're not there, you don't need to. So a C becomes a G on baritone. That means that if you're playing from some tab or something like that, it's not going to sound the same. You are going to be able to play the same stuff, but you're going to be playing in a different key. So that's good if you're playing on your own. It doesn't really affect you if you're playing on your own. So if you get a tab sheet or a music sheet or something like that, and you think, I'll have a go at this, you can just play it as is on that sheet, and it should be okay. Watch out for the low G though. Some things do sound a little bit different with a low G. If you're playing in a group though, or you're playing with other people and you want to play in a certain key, you are going to have to transpose those chords into another key so you can play them the same. So there's a bit more homework for you there on that one. That sounds horrible. Let's give this one a tune. So I've just had another go at tuning this baritone up. So the actual tuning on a baritone is D, G, B, E. That's the bottom 4 strings of guitar. So if I play what I played on the other ukulele so you can get an idea. It's still a little bit out, but I think that's more to do with the uke than it is the actual tuning of this one. But you get the idea, hopefully. And you can hear that I played my fingers were in all the same places, so I played the same piece of music like for like. And it kind of sounded the same, it's just in a different key. So you can do that, and that works fine. I personally think baritone is the easiest one to play of all the ukulele scales. You don't have to mess with the re-entrant tuning. It's a pretty comfortable size, nice and big, but not like sort of guitar dreadnought size. If you've ever played a dreadnought guitar, they're massive and it really takes some effort to get your arms around. And you would have heard their really booming sound in comparison to a soprano. But again, portability reasons, and because I've got a guitar, not particularly interested in baritones at all. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you've picked up a few tips about the different scales and what they might mean to you. There is no better piece of advice. Nobody can give you a better piece of advice than go and try some different sizes out and listen to the sound and what do they feel like? How do they play to you? That's the best way. you can't pick until you've played. So that's pretty much my story as well. I decided I wanted to be a soprano player, and over time didn't really like playing the soprano anymore, and here I am with my trusty concert, and this is a scale that I really like and I've settled on now. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back soon with more videos. Thanks and goodbye.